Hey, Charger History. Today's essential question is, how did China's geography affect its history? You don't need your notebook today. You just need your practice packet with the passage about China's geography. Make sure that you're turned to the Monday page. Welcome to your new unit, Unit 5, which is China. Here's ancient China on this map. Ancient China was an amazing place with unique cultures and inventions. It was so unique because it was isolated from other civilizations. Isolated means cut off from or away from. China was cut off from other groups of people. So by the end of class today, you'll know why China was so isolated. Please follow along on your page that looks like this as you watch the rest of this video. I'll be reading this passage and you'll be needing to annotate by circling key words and underlining key details. For every paragraph, make sure you write a central idea statement. Your annotations are your practice grade for today, and you'll be using them for the rest of class. So the geography of ancient China really shaped the way that the civilization and culture developed. Right now, go ahead and circle geography and write a small note above it that says land and water. Geography is talking about the land and the water that a place has. The large land was isolated, circle isolated, from much of the rest of the world by dry deserts to the north and the west. So here's the desert. The Pacific Ocean to the east, and impassable mountains to the south. We know that these are called the Himalayan Mountains. Because of this, the Chinese developed independently from other world civilizations with little or no influence from other people for thousands of years. That's right, an island, because it's difficult to reach other people. The two most important geographical features of ancient China were the two major rivers that flowed through central China, the Yellow River to the north and the Yangtze River to the south. These major rivers were also a great source of fresh water, food, fertile soil, and transportation, and they were subjects of ancient Chinese poetry, art, literature, and folk tales. Please circle the names of China's two rivers. Write a central idea statement after this paragraph to show that you know what this paragraph was mainly about. Pause if you need more time. Let's start by talking about the Yellow River. The Yellow River is often called the cradle of Chinese civilization. It was along the banks of the Yellow River that the Chinese civilization first formed. The Yellow River is 3,395 miles long, making it the sixth longest river in the world. It is also called the Yangtze River. Early Chinese farmers built small villages along the Yellow River. The rich yellow-colored soil was good for growing a grain called millet. The farmers of this area also raised sheep and cattle. But the Yellow River, here's a picture of some farmers alongside the Yellow River. But the and here are the sheep and cattle that they raised along the banks of the Nile River. The Yellow River was also called China's sorrow because of the terrible floods that have occurred throughout history when its banks overflowed. So this river has three names, the Yangtze, the Yellow River, and China's sorrow. It was clearly really important to the Chinese people. Please write a central idea statement for this section and underline 2 or 3 key details about the Yellow River. Now it's time to talk about the Yangtze River. The Yangtze River is south of the Yellow River and flows in the same direction, west to east. It's 3,988 miles long, and it's the third longest river in the world. Just like the Yellow River, the Yangtze played an important role in the development of culture and civilization in ancient China. Farmers that lived along the Yangtze River took advantage of the warm climate and rainy weather to grow rice. So all these crops, you see rice fields. Eventually, the land along the Yangtze became some of the most important and wealthy land in all of ancient China. The Yangtze also served as a boundary between northern and southern China. It is very wide and difficult to cross. Since it was hard to cross, different cultures developed in northern and southern China. The wide river prevented or stopped cultural diffusion from happening. Please stop and write a central idea statement for this section about the Yangtze River. Pause your video here. Answer this question in the box provided on your paper. How did geography cause North and South China to develop different cultures? When you finish answering step 1 and step 2, please raise your paper in the air to show me or Mr. P. To the south and southeast of China are the Himalayan Mountains. These are the highest mountains in the world. They provide a nearly impassable border for ancient China, keeping the area isolated from many other civilizations. They were also important to Chinese religion and were considered sacred. Today, Buddhism is closely associated with these mountains. Most people who live around the Himalayas today are Buddhists. In order to farm in the mountains, Chinese farmers had to use terrace farming. Without this strategy, they could never have cultivated crops on the steep slopes of the mountainsides. Please pause and write a central idea statement for this section about the mountains. To the north and west of ancient China were two of the world's largest deserts, the Gobi Desert and the Taklamakan Desert. These deserts also provided borders that kept the Chinese isolated from the rest of the world. But the Mongols, however, were nomads who herded animals like horses and camels. They lived in the Gobi Desert, and they were constantly attacking cities of northern China. They were used to the desert, so in this case, the desert didn't provide the Chinese so much protection like a desert normally does. Here's a picture of some of the desert nomads, the Mongols. Remember, they're sheep and cattle and camel herders. And they were also quite good warriors, so they attacked the Chinese because they could handle the desert environment. Please pause and write a central idea statement for this paragraph. Okay, now you're ready to go back to your playlist and push 4.0 until I call you together for practice.